Hello, everyone, and welcome to Expert Zone Live. It is Tuesday, the 31st of March, day 18 in the lockdown. I don't know what day it is in the lockdown, frankly.
Day 8 in the lockdown.
Day 8 in the lockdown. Adam and Dan are on Expert Zone Live. That's a terrible accent.
I kind of went between Geordie and London.
I'm not quite sure what happened there. I'm
one.
really sorry if I offended anyone with that terrible accent. So yeah, hello to you all. Let's do some quick hellos to people in the chat. So Tom on Facebook, hi to you. Technosaurus Rex, thank you for the host over on Mixer. Gareth, hello to you. Dale. Dale's in the house, yes, hi.
Dr. Dale.
Dr. Dale is here.
The commercial side of the business with me as well.
Absolutely. We've also got Barry is in the house on Facebook. We've got Dan Thomas. Dan T is here. John is in on Facebook and also on Mixer as Born Gamer. Hello. Gabbing about over on YouTube. Adam is here on Facebook. James on Facebook. Gareth again. Elliot's in the house as well. Born Gamer, thank you for the host over on Mixer. Matt, we have a lot of people tonight. That is.
Have these guys been watching Elite TV as well?
Potentially, yeah. So for those who don't know, for our ambassadors, the Elite Microsoft Elites that we have in Curry's PC World, of course, Curry's PC World not open at the moment, so they're getting some exclusive Elite TV streams from us. So yeah, Elite, shout out if you're in there. We've seen a few of you already. Jer, hello to you on Facebook, mate. Dan, how's it going? Oh, should really introduce myself. I'm Adam Schofield. You probably know who I am if you've watched these streams before anyway. Evangelist. Dan, who are you?
I'm Dan. I'm one of the evangelists on the team as well. But myself and Dale and Dan, we look after the commercial side of the business. So dealing with our distributors, our partners, our resellers, etc., etc. So you might see us popping up every now and then. We've done a couple of streams on commercial. We did one last week, I think it was, me and you, Adam. But the week before that, we did a whole big thing onto Teams as well.
Yes.
So today's off the cuff. Hence why I'm just in my room here with my microphone, and Adam's in about 10 minutes before. So
it's all good. It's been a busy day, man. I've had an insane day. So let's get right into it. So Dan, I'm just going to put it right in front of you. What are we talking about today?
What are we talking about today? Okay, Adam, I'm going to ask you a question. Now, I can't see any of the chats that's going on, so I can only see myself on screen, which is why I keep looking at myself.
I'll keep up to date with the chat for you.
Okay, so we're going to role play in this, Adam. Okay, so I'm going to be from the commercial side of the business, and you are going to be our average demographic of someone that uses technology and computers at home or at work. Okay, does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So I'm going to ask you a question, Adam. In your home life, how do you unlock your phone?
In my home life?
Yeah, but with your personal phone, how do you unlock it?
My personal phone, I've got facial recognition, so I just look at it.
Cool, facial recognition. And when you want to go on a website and you want to remember your password, how do you do that? Do you use facial recognition?
And I want to remember a password?
Yeah, so if you want to enter a password into a website, you can use facial recognition to do that, right?
I've not done that before, personally, no.
Okay, but in most phones, if you want to go onto a website and you want to remember your password...
you want to link it all together, yeah.
Yeah, it does that. If you want to pay for things, so if you're on Apple, you use Apple Pay, or Android, you might use Google Pay. How do you do that? You use biometrics to do that, right? Facial recognition, thumbprint recognition, and you're able to pay for things and do that.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask you another question, Adam. On your phone, in your home life, if you run out of storage for your device, what do? You buy it from the cloud?
Yeah, I'll put it into cloud storage. Cloud storage. OneDrive, personally, but yeah.
Cool, OneDrive, yeah. So cloud storage, whether it's OneDrive or Dropbox or anything like that, or even if you've got native iOS, it'll be Apple or iCloud or Google Cloud, anything like that. Cool. So you got your extra storage on there. If you lose your phone and you get a new phone, how do you put all your data back onto your phone?
I would have a cloud backup.
Cloud backup, cool. Yeah. Well, okay, so and the same with your home PC as well. You like to think that a lot of it is backed up in the cloud. Okay, so in our consumer life, it seems that with technology, we are using biometrics daily. And by biometrics, I mean your fingerprint or your facial recognition to be able to unlock the power of technology. To keep you secure, you're using your biometrics and your facial recognition. To buy more storage, well, you click a button and you get it from the cloud. It's not really on your phone. It's not anywhere. It's in the cloud. If you get a new phone or an upgrade, You don't need to move your data off with a data cable or taking the data card out. You just use the cloud to do that as a backup. If you lose your device, you're able to go online and to pull your data down and have a device ready, set up straight away, ready to go. If you break a device, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
If you lose your device, you can log on and you can use Find My iPhone or Locate Phone or a whole number of things. And if you want to move stuff around, you can do it via the cloud, which is brilliant. So if we take this as our consumer life at the moment,
Yeah.
we are absolutely technologically advanced in every sense of the way, right?
Yeah.
80% of businesses out there, how do you think they unlock their laptops?
With a password or
With a password,
yeah.
and that's going to be set by themselves on a maybe a security parameter set by their network managers. Okay, so that password might be a mixture of numbers and letters. How many times do you think that password repeats across that account? So they log on to their account. Oh, it's going to be lots of times, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at my phone earlier. I've got 158 passwords saved, and 112 of them are exactly the same.
Right,
and that's
okay.
in my home life anyway. But in a work life, we have loads of different platforms. You might have a password for your emails. You might have a password for your cloud storage. You might have a password for absolutely everything, and you're probably going to use the same password.
Yeah.
So if we're taking a customer that's not on Windows 10, for example, hasn't yet moved to switch to Windows 10, or they're not using Windows 10 in a cloud environment, they're actually at a massive risk. And this is where we pose the question. Why is it that in our consumer life, we are so far ahead of where we are in our business life? And I'm going to expand on that a little bit, because if we think about it, if a business was to lose a laptop, for example, if they're not set up with the tools that Windows 10 have got, that data is effectively lost. That data is now out there at risk. People don't know where the laptop is, and that data is vulnerable. If that data is critical for the business to carry on working, that user has to wait for a replacement laptop to get sent back out to them. And once it's sent back out to them, it's got to be imaged. All the data has to be pulled back on it. The application set up. That's quite a bad thing. You agree with that one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and you kind of see where I'm going with it, with this flow. Right? If we forget a password, well, what do we have to do? We have to go to our network managers and request a new password. And actually, taking today's modern environment, that could take a couple of days to come back, and a couple of days downtime isn't great.
No.
If you're not storing stuff on the cloud and not using things on Windows 10 that allow you to do that, if you haven't got access to your files, or you can't get onto your laptop or your machine, actually, how do you continue working? And again, it poses the question, actually, in our personal lives, we are so far ahead of where we are in our business life and our commercial world. And this is what I want to talk about. When people come into store, when we're back in store, or we're chatting to people online, or we're advising people on how to buy things, well, how do we really sell the proposition that Windows 10 for a business environment and Windows 10 Pro and using Office 365 Business Premium, actually, how can we simply explain that to someone? Because when someone comes in, for example, they might be a small business with 5 people in their business, and they want to buy 5 laptops. Well, they could just go for the 5 laptops and the 5 versions of Office, and they walk out and they might be running Word, Excel, and Outlook. They might just have their laptops they need. But how can we tie that in? And what's the easiest way for us to really sell the correct solution into our business customers? Are you following me? Is anyone chatting anything? Are people following on this?
So at the moment they are. So Dale, firstly, is accusing you of using QWERTY UOB as a password for everything.
It's actually backwards with a 1, 2, 3, 4 exclamation mark.
Oh, well, there you go.
So
there you are.
For that.
James Allen comments in with the joys of Active Directory. Gareth says Active Directory and Azure Active Directory together equals SSO. Does that mean anything to you?
It does, yes. And we're not going to go too deeply into that because I feel we'd lose about 90% of the audience when we start talking about that. But yes, you are correct in what you're saying.
Cool.
So let's have a think, Adam. So let's think of, we've got 15 minutes to talk about this. Okay. Let's take out 5 key things. Now, I'm going to ask you what you think Windows 10 will do with it. And we're going to have a discussion around will Windows 10 solve that problem? Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, how do we log on to our devices? What does Windows 10 have in place that allows us to securely log on to our devices? Question to you.
Cool. So you've got Windows Hello, facial recognition, and fingerprint recognition.
Cool.
And then...
Stop. Ding, 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 ding. Bust on that one. What is Windows Hello? Let's put it out in the most easiest way, people, in case people haven't heard of it, in case people don't know the ins and outs. I learn things about stuff all the time. So what is Windows Hello in its most basic form?
It is just being able to log in without needing a password or a PIN.
Exactly. And do you know why that's more secure than using a password or a PIN?
Because it is harder to
you can't
duplicate.
fake it.
You can't fake it, yeah, because it's biometric, or it's quite literally what your face structure is.
you can fake a part, or you can you can guess someone's password and you can guess a PIN number. That is easy to do. If someone wants to find out what it is and they watch you type it in, they can do that. But you can never, ever, ever forget what your face is, because your face is your face. Now, how Windows Hello works as well, which is really interesting, is it won't work if you hold a picture up to the camera. Now, there are some facial recognition softwares out there that can be tricked by holding a picture of your face up to that camera, and it will think that that person is you. But actually, what Windows Hello does is it actually goes deeper than that, and it actually scans points on your face to make sure that the face you see is actually the face there. That's why sometimes it won't work properly if you're wearing sunglasses. Whereas other things like some phone applications, they will still work if you wear sunglasses. Now, true facial recognition wouldn't do that. So the Windows Hello facial recognition just makes sure that the face in front of it is the real face. So we do this, me and Dale, when we're at events. We've actually got a giant cutout of my face that Dale holds over his, and it will not unlock. It won't unlock the device. But as soon as I walk into the camera shot, it does my eye scan, it does my facial scan, and it makes sure I can get straight into it. Exactly the same way with your fingerprint as well. You know, a fingerprint cannot be faked. That is your fingerprint. There's only one of them in the world. So by using Windows Hello, actually, you can say to your business customer that no one's really ever going to be able to fake that information there, because that's your information. And it just adds an extra layer on there. And if we start getting really deep and technical about things like this, actually what you've got is for GDPR and for security compliance, there's now different rules in place, meaning that sometimes you might have to have two-factor authentication in. And by two-factor authentication, what I mean is you might have to do facial recognition and then a password, or a password and then your Windows Hello facial recognition.
And then you've also got authenticator apps as well and such.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, so that's the first one. So if we're talking about passwords, we're talking about security. Now, there's three ways you can sell that into someone when we're talking about Windows Hello. First of all, it is secure. It's more secure than using a password because it is your face and finger. Second sales tip on this, it minimizes the amount of downtime that you may have if someone forgets their password. So if someone forgets their password, rather than having to pass it over to the person whoever deals with the IT infrastructure, saying, hey, can we do a password reset? Actually, they can just use their face to do that. Now, thirdly, what Windows Hello also does is, depending on the security that you have in place for your business, it can also remind you to keep changing your PIN number. And also as well, like for me, for example, I've got a blank device here that I've put my Microsoft credentials on. But because of that, it's saying, look, your business means you have to have Windows Hello enabled before you're allowed to access any of the data. So you're really protecting your data from anyone that you don't want to be on your computer.
A couple mentioned in the comments. John said a really simple point about it, actually. You can't forget your face or your fingerprint, which is extremely handy. Dale says hello equals 75 measurements. Anything?
Sorry?
Dale says hello equals 75 measurements. This is Dale saying this.
I think Dale's worked too hard today.
Dr. Dale's going mad. We do not understand what he's saying about that.
Dr. Dale is drunk off of PowerPoint presentations. That's what I think Dr. Dale is at the moment.
There you go.
Okay, so that's our first thing that we've answered. So Windows Hello in its most basic form is what you do every day. It's what you do day in, day out to make sure that you're able to access your devices, but you're putting it in a commercial world. Now, it's really important to understand that Windows Hello can be your PIN number, or it can be your facial recognition, and depending on the device that you sell. So in order for the facial recognition to happen, it has to have the infrared cameras in. So you're looking at kind of a medium device upwards. So anywhere from the £600 to £700 range upwards will have that in there. Products like the Surface have it built in, and you'll notice that the infrared camera just flicks the whole time when you're looking at it. And it's just quick to log in. But most medium range devices, especially in the commercial side, and even some of the kind of the premium range, have your little thumbprint sensor in there as well. So that's where you'll find those.
Okay.
Moving on. Secondly, let's talk storage on a device. Okay, we all know that selling someone a device, there's a lot of points where at some point they could turn around and go, how can I save money on this? How can I get the best deal on this? Especially when we're looking at businesses, because if it's a small to medium business, they'll try and not cut costs, but they'll try and get the best return on investment for their device possible. Now, we know that if someone comes in, the best thing they can buy can have 32 gig RAM with a 1080 graphics card, and it can have a terabyte SSD or a 512 SSD. But the reality is, there is a right device in a right budget for everyone to be on there. Okay, so if we look at this, if someone walks in and their budget allows them to afford 128 gigabyte SSD with an i5 processor, and they need to use it for business, Well, we're going to run out of 128 gigabytes quite quickly, especially if they have to have a lot of presentations on there.
Yeah.
If they, have got a lot of media. So how do we mitigate against that? How do you think we can mitigate against a business customer not having an amazing or not having a big enough budget to maybe stretch to a 512 SSD, but how can they still get the best when we talk modern workplace buying a smaller SSD? What is the solution?
Well, that'll be OneDrive and Microsoft 365.
Exactly, my man. So let's talk about OneDrive. Okay. Now, when we talk OneDrive, people sometimes will go, "What's that? I've never heard of it." Okay, and that's quite a simple question. So the easiest way to explain what OneDrive, Adam, how would you describe OneDrive in a really simple way?
OneDrive is cloud storage where you can it fully integrates with your File Explorer, so you can keep all your files in the cloud rather than on your system.
Exactly. Yeah. So in its most simple form, it's cloud storage.
Yeah.
With Microsoft, if you buy Office 365 Business Premium, you get a terabyte of storage for that year for free.
Yeah.
And that is an incredible amount of storage. If you think about it, to put this into perspective, other competitors, so, in the business world, we openly talk about this. We openly say that you have Dropbox, you have Google Drive and things like that will sell you additional storage for a monthly cost.
Yeah.
Now, you're looking at around £15 for maybe 50 to 100 gigabytes a month of data being stored on there.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were to take that over a year, you'd be looking at £180 for 50 or 60 gigabytes of data, paying on a monthly basis per user. And actually, that gets quite expensive. And actually, when you start looking at other things out there, and don't get me wrong, I still use other products when, if I'm not in certain situations, because some of my customers don't have access to OneDrive, some of them don't. We're not disrespecting any competitor here.
Yeah.
But the one biggest thing that OneDrive has over all the competitors is, like you said, it sits on your folder. And what that means is that when you're using it, if you open up your folder on your folder browser, you have a little folder called OneDrive. And everything there, wherever you drag on that, no matter where you are in the world with an internet connection, if you log on to office.com or onedrive.com and put your credentials in, you have access to all your files and everything you've ever worked on that's saved in there.
And the fact that it is quite literally, it looks exactly like your File Explorer. It's just a seamless experience. James in the chat just mentioned a really good way of describing it as well. It is a USB stick in the cloud you can access from everywhere.
Exactly, yeah, but I've never heard it called that before. That is a really, really good way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
It is just it's a USB stick in your pocket that you've always got with you. And again, if you're able to log on to any device with the internet, you have access to everything you've done. And that's a really key thing, because if a customer, when a customer walks in and we want to sell them, make sure that we sell them the right products for them. If we start looking at, attaching Office to it and attaching anything else that you need to attach in store, well, actually that can start building up and up. And all of a sudden, a £500 device might turn into £600, or it might turn into 700 or 800.
Yeah.
So how can we show a really good return on investment back into that? Well, bang, the biggest return on investment we can show them in a storage space is that we're giving you a terabytes of storage included in all your stuff with you. Mm-hmm. And that's a massive thing when talking to businesses. And if you want to really go and show them how much that's worth, go and show them how much a terabyte hard drive is to buy.
Yeah.
And put it in there, because you get that included with the cost of Office. Now, the Office license, we'll call the Office license £140, I think.
Yeah, depending on the version you go for, because you've got various tiers, especially in commercial. Yeah. My God.
So if you go for the business premium standard, saying it's £150, well, I think you're going to be hard pushed to find a terabyte storage device that's cheaper than £150. So not only are you getting access to your Office and your emails and Office across all your devices, you're also getting this included with it. But it means you never have to take it anywhere.
And I think even if you do find a storage device cheaper, it's that whole message of you're not just getting cloud storage, you're also getting that entire Office suite and all those features and the experiences that you need for your business anyway. So it's like you're really saving however much money on the hard drive, because now you just need to buy that.
Okay, next problem we got, support. Businesses do need support, because when we're setting up Exchange servers, when we're setting up the additional stuff, especially if they're doing it for the first time, it can get quite confusing if you're doing it for the first time. If you're not a network manager trying to set up a new network, if you haven't done it before, there's a lot of steps to follow. It's not impossible to do and it's not hard to do, but sometimes there's a few things you need to change on your DNS settings, on your web hosting settings, a whole lot of stuff. Who gives them the support, Adam? Who gives that business customer the support?
I don't know.
Microsoft.
It is Microsoft.
So Office 365 Business Premium, Microsoft give you 24/7 support. That's phone, web, and email. So if you were to buy a Windows 10 device and you're moving from Windows 7 to Windows 10, and you're moving from an old version of Office to Office 365 Business Premium, the very first time you install it, there'll be a whole load of stuff to do. If you don't know what you're doing, jump onto Microsoft support and they'll be able to help you, and they're really, really helpful when doing it.
Yeah.
Again, being able to say that to a customer, the return on investment is, if they don't know what they're doing, there's going to be minimal downtime because someone on the other end of the phone or the other end of email or the other end of web chat will help you and guide you through your process.
And be
You've
able
got
to
help
talk
in
them
hand
through
for
it.
that entire year, and it's not just for the installation. So when we're looking at this, again, it's a bit like if you don't know how to set your phone or your device up, you take it to a device store or a phone store and they'll do it for you. Microsoft are helping you in this because we want you to get the best out of what you can.
Yeah.
So again, it's just another great thing that you can give to a customer, that's included with the thing, 24/7 support to make sure that your customer, your business needs are always up and running and always functioning.
So we've got a couple bits in chat. There's a question which I'll come back to, which I think was to do with OneDrive based on when it was dropped into the chat. Before I come back to that, I'll just go into a comment from Gareth around the external hard drives. So in terms of the cost of them, especially if they're secure USB external HDDs, they'd be quite expensive and more prone to failure as well. Shaz asked a question earlier. I think this is to do with OneDrive and questioning whether it's vulnerable to man-in-the-middle attack, is what he's called it.
Okay, so without asking for more clarification, do you mean that someone's going to sit in between the data point going from your computer to the cloud?
Potentially, yeah.
I think, so effectively with OneDrive for business, it's encrypted end to end. So once that data has left your PC, it doesn't go to a middle point. It goes straight up into Azure to be hosted into the OneDrive servers. And again, depending on the device that you're using, if you've got your device, you'll have BitLocker, you'll have the security and Windows Defender, and with firewalls, you'll make sure there's no external access onto that. When you technically log on to office.com on a website and access your files from there, no, because you're going in directly from a secure gateway. So you notice the little padlock is always in the top right-hand corner of the screen when you're on there. So it's a secure website connection on there. So there's no real chance of a man in the middle. And in terms of when we look at the Windows servers and when we look at the Windows OneDrive and the guarantee, your data is financially guaranteed by Microsoft 99.9999% of the time, which means that if there's ever a server outage, that Microsoft have enough redundancies in place to keep it hosted in the cloud and you have access to your files. If there's a massive surge, there's enough redundancies in place to make sure that. But that also goes on to security as well, in the sense that it is encrypted end to end, and you cannot have that data breached at any point along the way.
I learned recently as well about some of the steps you can take to make sure that you maintain privacy on your OneDrive, especially if it's for business. Be that, because you can. It's little things like if you're sharing documents with someone, you've got a few ways of doing that. The easiest way, but also the most open way, is to just share an open link with someone. But you can actually just share a document to that direct email address, and then it's just to that individual, and there's no outside sharing of it. And that sort of thing. Yeah.
So, I mean, I could talk for hours on this, and that's what I've actually been talking about all day today.
Oh, there you go.
But I just want to kind of round it up. I started this off by saying that we are very far ahead in our consumer life than we are versus in our commercial life. And it's our job when we speak to customers that are coming into store, when we're speaking to customers that we're face to face with, or on the business centers or on the phones, that we're asking exactly, well, how can we make sure that the customer walks out with the best solution for that? And historically, there's always been products to do it, but now we have two simple things: Windows 10 Pro for your business, and also Office 365 Business Premium. If you marry those two together, you have perfect harmony and perfect sync of everything, and you have this solution that really, if someone's struggling to understand it or you're struggling to explain it in a simple way, just point to your smartphone. If you need more storage, you have that storage there. If you lose your device, it doesn't matter because they can just sign in straight away on a new device. If they haven't got access to their device, they can go to office.com and have a complete virtual suite of their products. They can still use Word. They can still use Outlook. If you're worried about data breaches or things like that, well, hey, we've got you covered because you're used to using facial recognition in your day-to-day life. So why don't you put that on your PC as well? And if people then sort of question that, or there's any pushback on that, say, well, would you go back on your mobile phone having just a 4-digit PIN number? Probably not, because we have our life on that. But we actually have our business life on our work devices, especially now with more and more remote workers. So it's just trying to get them into that whole sort of idea and seeing that actually Windows 10 coupled with Business Premium allows you to kind of playing on an even kill that you're playing on in your consumer life.
Yeah, and weirdly as well, I know we're in a very worrying time at the moment in the world, but when we start getting back to normality and we are back in stores and such, if anything, that conversation might be easier because so many more people will now be exposed to this idea of mobile working and how important it is to use cloud storage and all these different ways of collaborating with people. It should be an easier conversation off the back of what is honestly really a terrible time for a lot of people, and you know, it sucks. But if there's that silver lining to take out of how people look at mobile working, that's certainly one of them.
Exactly. There's one thing I did want to mention as well is obviously, you know, that there's kind of been a bit of a stock shortage recently. So when people have been coming in, they've not been able to get maybe the device they want. That will come good one day. There'll be enough stock for everyone to go back to normal.
Yeah.
But it's really, really important if your business customer is coming to you or buying a device or seeking advice on buying a device, and they want to use that device and they want to join it to a domain. Okay, so for example, if we use the company Waving Cat Limited. Okay, so we've got Waving Cat Limited that has a domain set up and an exchange domain. We're going to go and we're going to talk to them. If they buy a Windows 10 home device, it will not be able to join that domain network.
Yeah.
You're basically selling them something that will not work. And we saw a massive increase in this in the last couple of weeks where people have been buying devices because that's what's been available in store, or they've not maybe thought about buying the Pro device, is you're selling them a redundant machine that can never, ever, ever join that domain.
Yeah.
So it's really important. It's speaking to customers, you know, what's your security? What's your storage like? What's your budget? Find out what they need, but also find out if they're joining the domain.
Yeah.
If they are joining a domain, you cannot sell them a Windows 10 home device because it will not allow you to connect to that domain for security reasons.
But then if they are on a Windows 10 home device, have they still got the option to upgrade to Windows 10 Pro?
I will let you know on that one.
Cool. I think they do, but granted, someone's popped it in the chat as well about upgrading to Windows 10 Pro, so we'll just upgrade the system to that version. But then yes. I guess there are definitely benefits to having a device which is designed with Windows 10 Pro in mind because of some of the hardware features that are there as well.
Exactly, yeah. So the security chips built inside the TCM and things like that will have to make sure it's all part of them. When you start looking at BitLocker encryption and everything else, yeah, you just got to make sure that it is the right device. So if a customer comes in, find them the device in their budget that's Windows 10 Pro.
Wicked. Cool. I
think that's everything we got time for.
I reckon we're pretty much coming up to time. We had a few more comments in chat. Shaz saying that it's so good he uses E1 Teams Planner, Exchange Email, all for less than £8 a month. Look at you go. Exactly. Gareth saying it's really important to showcase these features as the technical support features, I think he was referring to, as there's a lot of companies that offer Office 365 with Exchange and then offer extra support as an additional charge, even though you get support as part of 365. So yeah, if you do get people in store, that's certainly a conversation. David's joined late. Hi to you, mate.
Hello.
And then you've got some businesses may have a Pro Key which they can use to upgrade.
Yes, that comes into the licensing side. They will have that, but always, you know, if you're speaking to the purchaser, make sure they do have that. If you know what you talk, if you understand that language and you know what you're talking about in that sense, do it. But the easiest way to say it is, are you joining a network? And are you aware that if you buy this device, you cannot join the network unless you have the correct keys? You won't be able to sell them the keys in store.
A few comments around upgrading from Windows Pro. A couple of people who have actually done it from a Windows 10 home machine. But I guess it is still that point as well around there are some hardware specifications which are more compatible when built with Windows 10 Pro in mind, especially around security.
Exactly, yeah. And the other thing as well is you think if you're buying that device, then it's just an extra step you've got to take. And for the saving of maybe £100, actually, what is that time worth to you as a business owner? It's fine if you're doing it with one device at home to be running Windows 10 Pro. But if you buy 10, 15, 20 devices, and you've got to upgrade every single one on 20 devices, well, the return on investment there would probably say it'd be cheaper for you to actually just buy a Windows 10 Pro device
from the start,
than it would to sort of from the start, then not waste your time doing it, but use your time. Say it takes an hour each one, that's 20 hours. 20 hours in business time can translate to, you know, by £2,000, £3,000, £4,000.
So as an individual, the upgrade might be an option, but as a business, buying several devices is certainly 100% worth going straight for a Windows 10 Pro device. Specifically
Exactamundo, my friend. Exactamundo.
There you go. Cool. Right, we have run out of time.
Recap it very quickly.
Go for
it. Facial recognition. you have a lot of cloud storage, and we use cloud storage and facial recognition every single day without even realizing we're doing it. So it's easy to translate to a customer. 24/7 support online, via web, via phone, via live chat. Don't sell them Windows 10 Home because it probably won't. Well, it won't be able to.
Especially if it's for a multitude of devices and stuff, you want to go for a pro device.
Yes, that's it. But remember, consumer life, commercial life. Let's bring them together so they're running parallel rather than one being ahead of the other. Because I'd be more worried about someone stealing my work laptop and all my data than being able to get access to my home phone, which has just got my Instagram and Snapchat.
Yeah, and it's certainly getting easier to send that message across when we look at what's happening in the office space with a recent announcement that you may or may not have seen yesterday, which we'll be talking about in the future.
I'd like to hear about them, man.
Indeed. Righties, cool. We are all sorted. So remember, we will be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m, same time, same place on Facebook, Mixer and YouTube for Easy Level Up. Presenters to be confirmed. And
it's not going to be me tomorrow. You have a break for me, guys. It's not me tomorrow. Don't worry.
You go.
Yeah, my waving cat.
And then on Thursday as well, every week now for the foreseeable future, we will be doing a Thursday stream. So do make sure to tune in to Facebook, YouTube, or Mixer Thursday, 7 p.m. as well. So every single week we'll be live 7 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So do keep that a lookout. And tomorrow is, I think I'm right in saying it's a brand new season of Easy Level Up.
It's also April Fool's Day.
It is. It's not on April Fool's because it will be after 12 p.m. So that doesn't quite work. Almost.
Right, everyone stay safe out there. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. It's really weird not being next to Adam when we're talking, and especially when I can't see anything, I can just see myself.
Yeah, there you go. It's been quite an experience. I'll wave at you. It's fine.
Adam, it's been emotional, my friend.
It has. Cool. Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you, everyone, for watching. See you around.
Have a great week.
Bye-bye.